Hi, everyone. Welcome. I'm going to call this meeting to order. This is the Town of Auburn School Committee meeting for December 18th, 2024. All supporting materials that have been provided to the members of this body is available on the town's website, and the public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda. Also, this meeting is being recorded by Auburn Cable Television. Thank you. If we could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, welcome, everyone. We have a full house tonight. Turn it over to you.
The vision of the Auburn Public Schools is to educate and prepare students for the opportunities and challenges of a changing world. Our commitment: we will create, maintain, and support an environment that fosters a sense of belonging for all students in our schools, respecting race, color, sex, religion, national origin, sexual orientation, gender identity, homelessness, poverty, spoken language, and ability.
All right, thank you. Do we have anyone here for citizens' comments? No, seeing none, we'll move on to special recognitions.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So this evening, we do have a special recognition. Recently, in early December, Woosocks and Country Bank held you could nominate your most valuable teacher. And so we had an ABA at Bryn Mawr, Megan Dupuy, who's here with us this evening, nominated by a family. So I'm going to read what the family wrote in about Ms. Dupuy. Ms. Dupuy is a special ed aide that our daughter Allie, who has autism, has had through kindergarten, summer school, as well as first grade so far. She has helped our daughter so much in terms of social skills, learning, day-to-day activities in school, communication with us about ideas and progress with Allie. Allie overall is just a wonderful person. She is with her every single day. She is pretty much Allie's right-hand man. She goes above and beyond every day for us as well. Going through the school system in Western Mass, it was a revolving door for teachers. Allie has never had such a dedicated teacher like Meg that has stayed with her for so long. We can never thank her enough for helping Allie blossom into the little girl she is today. When she's in school, we know that she is in safe and, frankly, very loving hands. She puts in so much time, effort, and thought. We definitely believe that she should be nominated for the extremely hard work she does every day at school and even through the summer. She doesn't have to do what she does, and that's what makes her wonderful. So, nicely done, Ms. Dupuy. Could you come up to the microphone for a moment? So I don't know if anyone has any questions or...
I have the goosebumps. Great. Oh, my words.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you
Super
for your
awesome.
commitment.
Yeah,
We need
of course.
many of you.
I love working with her.
Do you? Yeah.
It makes me very happy, yeah.
That's great.
I'm completing my master's in special education as well, so it's very helpful to kind of apply what I learned to what I do with her on a day-to-day.
Great.
So.
Awesome. Oh, you're a great fit. Yeah.
Well, thank you for being in Auburn.
Thank you. I love being in Auburn. I hope to teach here eventually, too. I did.
She's incredible.
Good.
Hopefully someday we see her at a concert.
I hope so. I hope so.
I will say that, we very often don't hear the good things like this. So it had to be remarkable for this family. I think the impact that you've had on them and continue to have on them. So thank you for all of that. Thank you for what you do. And, you're an example of how we want all of our kids to feel when they come to school. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Very proud.
Yeah.
Yes.
Great.
Yeah.
Meg, if you'd like to come up, you can come shake hands and then you are free to go. Ms. Beverly, thank you for coming as well.
Yeah.
So much.
Thank you so much. Nicely done.
Thank you. Great job.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, welcome. Great. That was awesome.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for coming. Thank you.
Good job, Dad.
Yeah. Awesome job. Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Girl. Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you very much. Have a great evening. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Much.
All right, and we do not have student reps tonight. They're at a track meet, so we will move on to the
Going to
superintendent.
do minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry. Seek approval for the minutes from December 4th, 2024.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from December 4th, 2024.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, it is a vote. You said you wanted a quick meeting, trying to expedite.
Good job. So we're on to student spotlight. So this evening we have some friends here from Swanson Road School. Mrs. Biaksha, Dr. Lopez is here. I don't know if you want to come on up and we'll let everyone introduce themselves. How's that?
Perfect. It's great to be back again. Tonight we have Mrs. Biaksha, our art teacher, and some fifth grade students. We're really excited to be able to present some of what we do cross-curricularly, to be able to show art integration in the sciences. So I'll let Mrs. Biaksha take it from here and introduce the students.
All right. Hello, I'm Gayla Biaksha, and my art integration opportunity is back this year, which I'm super excited about. Dr. Chamberlain, you know, back when you were principal at Bryn Mawr, that was my thing. That was actually what I got my master's degree in, integrating the arts into the curriculum. So when that opportunity came up in my schedule this year, once again, I was super excited because outside of art, science is next in line. So I have art integration with science in fifth grade this year. 3 days out of the 6 days in a rotation. So I wanted to just share some of the art integration activities or lessons that we did, and I've chosen 4 great fifth grade students, and we have an order here. So I think, do you want me to just introduce them all first, or
However
go
you-
in order?
we just wanna get-
Then we're gonna go with Jackson and Reagan first. Why don't you come up? And you can, do you want to say hello?
Hello.
All right, you can stand right over here and you can start.
In science class with Miss O'Connor, we researched information about the planets of our solar system, the size, the distance and order from the sun, and the number of moons each planet has.
We went to the art room with the information that we found in our research to help with our illustrations of the solar system. We were given our choice of art materials to use to create the Milky Way. And we did it our way.
So that was a little UDL thrown in there.
Yeah.
So they got to come down, use their research paper that they did in their classroom in science with their science teacher, Miss O'Connor, and they just applied what they learned about the size, the order, the color, and they had a whole array of art materials, all kinds of different media. So no two are the same. That's what's so great about it. And they got to grab the materials that they were most comfortable with, they were most excited about, and they all came up with something a little different. And the textures were just all unique in their own. So that was that integration lesson. So thank you so much for sharing your project. And you guys can sit, and then you guys can go up and introduce yourself. Actually, you can just use that microphone. All right, go ahead. Introduce yourself.
I'm Arnessa. I am Brennan.
All right, and you guys can just kind of shift over to the model, and go ahead. You can start, Arnessa.
In science class with Miss O'Connor, we learned about the water cycle and the watersheds through slideshows, reading activities, and class discussions. We then went to the art room for our art science integration class, where we used this model for hands-on experience to further understand how the water cycle and the watershed works. This land model shows us water collection areas in the form of a lake, reservoir, rivers, puddles,
And an ocean. And an ocean.
and an ocean. Evaporation turns this water into a gas that rises upward into the sky. The sponge represents a cloud where moisture gathers in the form of condensation due to cold temperatures. When the cloud gets dense with moisture, gravity pulls water back down to earth in the form of precipitation.
All right. So as our NASA picks up the water, that's simulating evaporation, and it's filling the cloud of moisture into a more dense cloud. And as the evaporation continues, moisture gathers, and gravity ends up pulling the water down in the form of,
Precipitation.
that's right, precipitation. And what you're witnessing right now is, and you can actually give it a little squeeze and send it, yeah. So what's happening right now? Say that louder, Brennan. What you said it just a minute ago.
This is a runoff. It's coming down into reservoirs, the ocean, lakes, ponds, and other water places.
Yep, water collection.
This cycle has been happening since the beginning of time and will continue on. The very same water is used over and over again here on Earth. So next time you drink a big glass of water, remember, it could be the very same water that a dinosaur drank back in prehistoric times.
Cool. Nice.
Nicely done.
Nice.
That's great projects. The rain is done.
Do you guys want to stand up for any questions?
Do you have any questions for the first couple of these groups here?
I do actually. What is the grass? Did you guys make that? Is it
It's
like
tape.
like tape? Okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay.
Yeah, it's all different color contact papers.
Oh, okay, okay. I'm looking at it going, I'm like, what is that made of? That is great. This is excellent, guys. This is I couldn't do this. Absolutely not. That is artistic, perfect. And you got to learn something cool.
We took it one step further, actually. We did a whole environmental piece, and I had a few little surprises for them.
Yeah.
I made a beaver dam out of clay and sticks and caused a backup in the river. And when that river got backed up, the little town got flooded. And they were environmental scientists that had to come in and resolve the problem. And they had sandbags and sponges and all kinds of materials to choose from to come up with a solution.
That's awesome.
Wow, this is a great idea.
Through the chair, what was your favorite part about science and art mixed together?
Squeezing the sponge.
Yeah.
Mine was definitely having like different materials. They used different like textures and materials.
I was going through the learning experience.
Yeah, mine was also the different materials.
Mine was how we used this model to to create like functions and how like it helped us learn more about the water cycle.
Awesome.
So do you think this is something that they should continue to do at Swanson Road School for kids to
Yes.
learn? Yes?
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
It helps you understand the concepts better too. So
Yeah.
it's great.
I'm definitely going to look at my next glass of water differently. Sure.
Yep.
Might be a dinosaur.
Same thing. They were like, oh, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh. A little bit more.
Yeah. It's just great. It's awesome.
Yeah, great job, guys.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Absolutely. That was
Just
awesome.
fifth grade.
Awesome.
Nicely done. All right, so you all can come up for a handshake too. How's that? You too, Mrs. Biaksha.
Good job. Nice job. Squeezing the sponges. Nice job.
Nice job explaining it. Great public speaking too.
Good job.
Excellent public speaking. Thank you so much.
I love that. I love that.
That's
Great
excellent.
job.
Same to you.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah. Hi, thank you so much. Yes,
Thank
thank you
you.
for
Awesome.
coming.
Nicely done.
That was great. It was absolutely great. Yeah.
And you now don't have to stay for the rest of the meeting. You are all free to go, and we appreciate you coming.
Right.
Happy holidays, everyone. Happy holidays.
I know. Blame them.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Solar system things. That's really cool.
Great job, guys. Keep up
Great
the
job.
good work. It's
Thanks,
cool.
everyone. Thank you for coming.
Thanks so
Happy
much.
holidays. Awesome job.
Good job, guys.
So proud of my PAC students.
Hi, Susan.
Great to see
Bye. Have a
Thank
good
you.
night. Take care.
Thank
Same
you.
to you.
Nice job.
So much.
That was cute.
Yep.
Now it's empty.
Very creative.
Yeah. And now it's empty.
Our true fans stayed.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mandy.
We appreciate you, Mandy. We appreciate you.
He's looking around. He's like, we're talking about you. You stayed.
Couldn't color in the lines that good. Like
I know.
Jesus
That was
Christ.
really great. Yep. Great job. Best part of the meeting. You all right there?
Seat just went down.
You're shrinking.
Yikes.
All right. We'll move on to unfinished business.
So the first item is the draft budget. We did do the budget presentations at the last meeting. I didn't know if anyone from the committee had any questions. At the next meeting on January 8th will be when you'll be asked to take a vote to move it forward to the town. So,
Through the chair, I do have one question. Thinking back on this, I know Swiss was asking for a teacher.
yes.
If the town puts down the budget and we have to kind of go back into play and reanalyze this, and no new teacher comes on, are they equipped? Because I know it was a special ed teacher. I wanna
So
make sure that
honestly,
they
I
are gonna
think
be equipped
if that
enough.
were to happen, we would have to bring on the special education teacher
Okay.
and find another spot.
Okay, okay.
And as I pointed out, that could potentially be if we don't need a fourth kindergarten at Bryn Mawr, much like this year.
Okay.
That could be the trade-off, right? So it wouldn't be really cutting anyone, it just wouldn't be adding that back in. But this is the problem with our budget cycle, with it happening now, is that there are still so many things just unknown.
Yeah.
So I have to tell you that it wouldn't surprise me if even at the January 8th meeting, if I come forward with some changes, if there's new information that comes to light. Even though I do think, so I was looking back at last year, I think I did come back in probably early February where we revoted a lower amount because initially it was 5.63 last year. Oh, you can get your jacket. And so we did lower it down to the I think it was 4.7 last year. So that could happen. But I think right now, those are the trade-offs that Mrs. Stanek and I and the leadership team have kind of been talking through.
Okay.
Where, if that has to happen, where can it happen? But special education, is unique. The students have to have that, and I did share with you enrollment in one of the previous documents that our enrollment has gone up. So you have to have the staff to support that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
agree.
Through the chair.
Thank
that
you
was
for asking.
Very similar to my question is, do we have like contingency in place if the town comes back and says, like last year, and says lower the budget?
So we have been looking at that,
Okay.
yes.
Good.
Yes,
All right. Great questions.
Yes.
Sorry. Great questions.
thank you.
And to my committee, when do we have the date of the public hearing?
We don't, it's in April sometime.
April.
Yeah.
Okay. So leading up to the public hearing, just get all your questions in prior to that. So that way at that meeting, we are rolling.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
No questions.
Because the public hearing is really for the opportunity for anyone who comes, which we don't usually get a huge turnout, but anyone who comes to ask their questions.
So keep the questions coming if you
Yes.
have any.
Perfect. Well, thank you.
All right, the next item is the third read of the meal charge and refund policy. I didn't know if anyone had any questions, but otherwise we would be looking for a vote for that this evening.
Through the chair, I did have one because I reread it today. What they do with the funds, it was on page 3 where it says balance carryover, balance donation. Would that donation, is that just to do the negative balance, or could that be to fund like someone's field trip, like if they were?
Yeah, so that money normally stays, food services is very specific.
Okay.
So it would stay within that. So they could
Okay.
go to a negative balance. If, I think if they had a cousin who had an account and they wanted
Right.
to transfer, they
Well,
could do that.
Yeah, that's what it says. You can transfer funds to, towards different food balances. I just didn't know because they said you could donate it if you had funds and you were like, oh, Fred can't go to the ski something.
Yeah.
can I give him that money? I didn't know if that was a possibility. That is not. I just wanted to make sure.
That food service
great.
money is a completely separate animal
Okay.
from everything else.
Yep.
It lives in that world, and that's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was it, and everything else looked great.
Great.
Yeah, it's a question though.
Yeah.
All right, any other questions? No? All right, I think we are ready to vote on that then.
I'll make a motion to approve the update of policy EFT meal charge refund.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
We will notify Ms. Pulver that that's happened. She'll be very happy to hear that. So this evening, I wanted to give you just a preliminary update on the Sandy Hook Anonymous Reporting System that we started in November at Auburn High School and Auburn Middle School. So in your packet, you have several reports. The first couple of pages just give an overall kind of summary of the types of calls that we've received. In large part, I think we had 2 out of the, I think a total of 30 or something like that were really not appropriate necessarily to be called in, even though many of the ones that were called in weren't necessarily emergencies, right? But the caller felt like it should be anonymous. So that's the first couple of pages. On the third page, it gives Auburn Middle School. So you'll see in November, they received 16 tips. I ran this on December 11th. So this isn't completely current, but in November, they had 16 tips with 157 tip follow-ups. So those are all the responses back and forth from the folks here that are responding. So we have guidance counselors, building administrators, myself, Mr. Keller, and Mr. Walton, who see and receive these tips. And in December, they had 4, and the follow-ups were 35. All of our calls at this point have been closed, which means they've all been responded to and handled appropriately, so that's a good thing. 2 pages later, you see the same report for Auburn High School, where in November they received 7 tips with 48 follow-ups, meaning, again, those responding to the tips, and in December they had 3. And then the last 2 pages give an overall summary again of the counts of different things. So you'll see that bullying and cyberbullying is the area that received the most calls, which I don't think surprises. It certainly didn't surprise me, unfortunately. But what I will say is that, and what schools are doing now is they're reinforcing with students. So for instance, if you put in a tip, that person's going to communicate. If you do it by text message, they're going to text back and forth with you from the call center. They're going to ask for more information. They're going to ask you qualifying questions. What we saw with some of the calls, because you can see everything that goes back and forth between the tipster and the call center, is that they would send in the tip, and then as they tried to text back and forth, there was no response, right? They weren't responding to the questions from the call center, because I don't know that they knew they could, or that they expected that they would hear back, even though it had to be showing up on their phone. But I think they just thought, well, I sent it in, that's all I need to do. So they're reinforcing at the schools that if you do put in a tip, you should be looking for a response from the call center. They're going to ask you questions. They're going to want more information. They're going to want whatever you can offer them. So to be back and forth with them. So, we're going to get better at it, I think. But I think already some of the things have been very valuable for us to know and to have been sent through that reporting system. So I think this is a great, again, kind of close the loop on student safety to every degree that we can.
So what is considered a follow-up? Are they contacting the anonymous caller or the person that's being accused, or?
So what will happen is, if I put in a tip, it goes to this call center. The call center is the one that they have people there gathering information. Tell me more. When did that happen? Do you feel like you're in danger? Like, if that's the case. But in the meantime, as soon as that call comes in, they're sending out that we've received a tip. So that tip is going out to the people at the school level. Because oftentimes, because it is anonymous, the call center doesn't know who's calling them, right? But they usually get the name of the offender, right? So now that information, we did have one case where the police were notified. We provided the address of the student because they didn't have the address, and the police went to the house. So it's a group effort, and it happens so fast. within a minute of the tip going into the call center, that call center is reaching out to the schools to try and make that connection. And so those responses are what's happening with the people here, right? Because now we get on with the call center. So the tipster's on with the call center and we're on with the call center saying, yes, we have the address. Yes, we've contacted the police. Or yes, we know about this situation and we'll work with this student tomorrow, whatever it might be. Most of them have not been emergent, but we did have a couple that were.
So there's like an average of 10 follow-ups for every case, and those are our teachers and
Yeah.
guidance and everyone.
Yeah, the guidance. It's guidance and building administrators.
Okay.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's great. It's like a mini 911 service.
It is. It is specific to our kids and our families. Yeah.
Through the chair, hypothetically, a parent who's concerned about their child could
Yes.
call this. Okay.
Yes.
Oh, do parents know that?
They should. I mean, I've put it out in my notices. I know the school sent something out in their notices, so they should. I'm hoping after the first of the year, I'll probably republish it. I have a Sandy Hook anonymous reporting button right on my newsletter that families can access the link. So they should. But you know what? This is something, it's new, so it takes a while to roll it out and get people to learn about it. But we were really pleased, so not pleased, right? You're not happy that you have to get these tips, but pleased that it worked the way it was intended to work.
And also through the chair, how does this impact, like, if a tip comes in, where are we with reporting to like Child Protective? Like, how does that?
Well, that depends on what
It
the
depends
tip
on what it
is.
is. Yeah, no, obviously.
Yeah,
but,
it
like,
depends on what the tip
so
is.
we would have to disclose certain things depending on what they are.
To DCF?
Yes.
I would say yes. This is typically a student-to-student thing. That's what it's been, right? A student-to-student thing, right? But you'll see there are things in here that do rise to the level of criminal, right? Now, that's not been our case at all at this point.
I'm just saying for the future, like, stuff like, there's one of them on here. I don't remember what it was. But it was something like concern about an adult. I'm guessing if the police are called, they will notify.
Oh, sure. And really, to me, that's the best part about this because we don't cover nights and weekends, right? But the police do. But what we know is if we get this tip, the police are going to be there to help us. And I did meet with our SROs this week to see how it was going from the police side of things, right? Because they're now getting calls from this Sandy Hook anonymous reporting line, like, did that work okay? Did they get the information that they needed and all of that? And they said it was great.
Awesome.
It was great.
Because that's just another thing for them. So if
Yep.
they're okay and embracing it, then that's great. That's
Yep.
amazing. Yeah. All right.
I would just add through the chair that organization has been really remarkable, and I think we just recently there was an anniversary of Sandy Hook. They are incredibly professional, very caring. They do a really nice job. We had a meeting. What was it, 2 weeks ago?
Yep.
After Chamberlain, where we went over how things are going so far. They're really well run.
Yeah.
Very responsive. The training that the folks at the call centers receive is tremendous. And like any little issue we have, like we had some questions about why do we get a text? Sometimes a few of them I've gotten a text and a phone call, but someone had already responded to the text. So why did I get the phone call? But they said often at the beginning, they do that to make sure systems are working and that people are getting reached,
That's amazing.
So yeah, if they don't get a response from a text message, if it's serious, if they don't get an immediate response from the school, or if they think it's life safety, they get a text to the school personnel, but it immediately goes to police. So they don't even wait. Yeah.
Yeah. So 24 hours a day.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There is some concern, and they told us to be aware that now with a long break, like we had to each team had to talk through it, right? People who work in schools take breaks, right? But in this case, our school administrators are the first line. If for some reason they didn't reach school administrators, it automatically goes to us, and that's our role, is to be there 24/7, in the case of an emergency. So that's what we'll do.
Wow. So school vacations,
If a tip comes in, it's going to be handled the same way.
Wow. Okay.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
That's usually when
That's fantastic.
kids need it the most.
It is. It is. So I'm a little apprehensive about what this is going to be. I hope our kids are all safe,
Yeah,
But
yeah.
we'll be there. We'll be there. So,
That's great. Okay, well, that was worth the wait,
Yeah.
for sure.
It was. It was.
The
yeah.
love-hate thing, though, you know.
Yeah, you wish you didn't need it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you wish you didn't need it. Yep.
So happy we have it. I wish we didn't. Like,
Yep. 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 I agree.
and Beth, it's not just your chair. I don't know if you saw me sink down.
Did you?
to,
Like, what happened?
I don't know.
Even do anything.
I was sitting and it went down. I'm like, I don't know how to fix this, so I'm just gonna sit here.
Please. I need a diet. Oh, come on. It's weird, right? All right.
All right, we'll move on to new business.
Okay, so again, we have some policy updates. So on August 1st of 2024, some new Title IX regulations went into effect and really expand the scope of prohibited school conduct schools have to address. And of course, we are committed to an educational environment free from discrimination and harassment. And so in order to do so, Alan and I have done some research on some policies and what needs to be in place. They are long, they are complicated, and there's a lot to them. I've been through them a number of times. I will tell you before our next meeting, I will go through them again to make sure that it all lines up. Because there are two policies and then procedures related to the policies included. So read them at your leisure over the holiday break. They're not uplifting reading by any means.
So
And
is this a typo, or? are
oh,
we
that
just-
is.
Okay, all right.
Yep.
This is North Andover?
Yep,
Yeah.
that is. Yep.
All right,
We can get you corrected copies of that.
That's fine.
yeah, that's fine.
I
We
can-
get the gist.
It was really, there was so many options to kind of look through and to see what makes sense for the Auburn Public Schools, keeping the heart of the intent of the policy in there. The MASC, these are mostly MASC, but some of them were just so convoluted with who was doing what and who was doing. We tried to streamline things by taking some samples from other places and looking at things so that it made sense for us. So
Through the chair, these are brand new policies.
they are.
Okay.
Alrighty, all right, well, you have some reading material for your break.
Go to the beach.
Yeah. All right, Mr. Keller.
Yes.
Teaching and learning report.
Yeah. So let me just pull this up. There we go. Okay. So we had actually just yesterday we had interviews which are part of the tiered focus monitoring review. So let me tell you a little bit about tiered focus monitoring. Essentially, every 6 years, every district and charter school in Massachusetts undergoes a tiered focus monitoring process where they're looking at our English language educator program. This is from the DESE's Office of Language Acquisition, and they basically are looking at what assessments do we give to students, how do we identify students to be part of our English language program, what actually is our program, how involved is our parents and community, what curriculum instruction do we use with our students, how do we ensure that the educators that are working with those students are licensed in what they should be licensed, how do we keep track of records, and ultimately how do we evaluate the success of our program as a whole as well as individual students. So the process actually started last year. So in May was a deadline to submit student records for all of our English language students. That was a significant lift on the part of our educators. Ashley Isgro, who is a leader of our program, who also teaches at the high school. We had to review all of our documents that we send out to parents, the documents that we use within the program itself, and submit those as part of our self-assessment, and upload those into a portal for the Department of Education. There's also this thing called the Cassianata test, which basically has 3 areas to it, which are making sure that the program that we use is based on research, that we implement our program with appropriate and adequate resources, and that we are showing results, that our students are showing results ultimately in the program. So all that stuff took place last year as part of our self-assessment. The Office of Language Acquisition then reviews the records that we submitted and all the information, the documents that we uploaded. And then the third step took place yesterday, which was interviews with staff. Because we have under 150 English learners in our district, that was done via Zoom. If you're over 150, then the Department of Ed comes in person. So There was an educator at each school, at least one educator at each school that I scheduled with somebody, Maura Connolly from the Department of Education, who met with each of them. They met with Ashley at the high school and then met with me for a good chunk of time yesterday. The other piece of this is anybody whose records were uploaded to the Department of Education received a parent survey. Either we emailed it to them in English as well as their home language, or sent it to them via U.S. mail. And so those get sent directly to the Department of Education. And I'll make a pitch if anybody happens to be watching. To this point, they've only received one of those surveys, so we're hoping to get a little bit more feedback from parents in that regard. So that was yesterday. So within 60 days, then they being the Office of Language Acquisition, will then send us a report of how we did, the things we need to work on. They're very clear about all of this, that their job, their role is to support districts. So it's not really a gotcha. It's here's how you can improve. Here are some of the areas that are strong. Here are some of the areas that you can make your program even stronger. So that's where this continuous improvement comes in. So Maura is the person that met with us yesterday. She is there to support us as a district. And so she will work with us to ensure that we get what we need if there's areas that they note need to be improved. And ultimately progress reports along the way. I mentioned the student records, so just really quickly, you may or may not be aware. So the different students that we have in our English language program are those that are L's, so English learners, former English learners. So those are students who essentially exited, who met the criteria and exited out. We're required to follow them for 4 years after they exit the program and make sure that they are continuing to make progress and not regressing. Those students whose families, for whatever reason, opted them out of the program, they did not want their child in an English language program. Our translation and interpretation. So, if we are having to translate documents or have an interpreter for parents for meetings and what have you. And then finally, English learners with disabilities. So those are all the records that we submitted, and then they reviewed to make sure that we're meeting all that. And then lastly, I won't go through each of these, but as part of the interviews, and I kind of identified some of these pieces already, but as part of the interviews yesterday, these are the tenets that they're looking for, is making sure that we're assessing our students, making sure that these students are participating in MCAS, how we identify English learners, what our program is, as I mentioned, how we exit them, how involved our parents are, how we're showing follow-up support. I guess I am reading all of them, even though I said it was all of a sudden I realized I'm reading. What kind of professional development we have. That's been a big thing that I keep mentioning Ashley. Every summer she's offered professional development to all of our staff to make sure that they can maintain their sheltered English immersion licensure and keep that up to date. And then finally record keeping, which is a big part of this. We are actually in the process. I talked previously about a professional development that we had earlier in the year with a program called Elevation. So we've been maintaining big folders like this that are, as you can imagine, when students go from school to school, and all the number of records that go in here are not so easy to go through. Elevation is a program where all that stuff is going to be housed now. It's going to be very easy for anybody who works with that kid, be it the academic teacher, the L tutor, the director of the program, et cetera, to see where they are when they entered the program, how they're progressing on meeting those criteria. So we're very excited about having Elevation and having all of our students' data as part of that. But we're not quite there yet, but we're getting there. So those were the interviews that took place yesterday, and I'm very thankful for the teachers who took part of their day to meet with Maura and provide the information on the program. And so, like I said, within 60 days, we will get a report from DESE that shares those areas of growth and areas of commendation.
All right. Any questions for?
Just one.
Yeah.
Can I just ask how many teachers participated?
Yeah. So it was one at each of the buildings. So and then we had 2 at the high school, then Ashley, and then me. So I think that wound up being 8 people altogether were part of those interviews.
And is it the teachers that are submitting all this information into the Elevation program? That's got to be tedious in itself.
Well, so it's actually so a lot of the stuff. The secretaries here have been able to upload some of that stuff into Google folders, and so Elevation can work with us to bring the stuff in from Google to move it over. But that is a lengthy process to, like you said, to get all that stuff in there and update it. But as we move forward, students, when they enter the program, all that stuff is immediately going to Elevation, so we don't have to do that part of it. So
It's like the My Chart, like in
Yes.
your medical.
Yeah.
My
Yes.
Chart
Yeah.
has everything right there.
It's really interesting elevations too. So if they just wanted to look at the students in first grade who are speaking at a level 1, you get a little list. So if you wanted to do a group with them just on speaking, you can do that. So it's about this documentation, and it's going to make it a lot easier for even for high school teachers to do progress reports, right? Because they have all different teachers. They're going to get a little notice that says, ding, progress report is due. Then there's the form, and they just fill it in, and now it becomes part of the record. So it's both things. It's kind of the administrative piece, which can be overwhelming for ELS, but it's also that instructional piece where you can really quickly and effectively see kids' progress, see how you can group them on some very specific parameters, which will help with instruction as well.
That's great.
Yeah.
Long overdue.
Yeah.
And that's going to really.
It's good, and they've been a great company,
Yeah,
right, to
very
work
good.
with too.
Yes.
They're another one. You know, sometimes you get a company, it's like, oh, like they know how to do this, and it just makes it so much more powerful. I mean, the staff has really liked the training
Yes.
they've gotten, and it's been really good.
Yeah, so they receive training, as Dr. Chamberlain mentioned, and the next step is to roll out that training to all staff, because anybody who has an L in their classroom will want to be able to see that. So that's the next step
Yeah.
from there. Yeah.
And thank you to Ashley.
Yes.
That's
100%.
doing all-
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
a lot of work.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's amazing. All right, great. Any more questions, comments? No? All right, Mr. Keller, thank you for that report.
You're welcome.
We'll move on to business and financial.
All right, I have provided you with a year-to-date budget report for the FY25 school year dated December 10th, 2024 for your review, and happy to answer any questions you may have. All right. And I have also provided a list of budget transfers dated December 10th, 2024 between the same series and between different series for which I am seeking your approval.
Make a motion to approve the list of transfers dated December 10th, 2024, as presented by the business manager.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I have two contracts to discuss with you this evening. As in my role, I have to follow the Chapter 30B procurement laws. And those procurement laws state that I need to only take 36-month contracts, 3-year contracts, unless I get your approval and your vote. So the first one that I would like to seek a 5-year contract is the Pitney Bowes postage meter. And so I've provided you with a breakdown of the Pitney Bowes lease pricing for Auburn High School, Swanson Road Intermediate School, Packagug School, and Bryn Mawr School postage meters, for which I'm seeking your approval. And I'm happy to answer any questions. And not all of the schools their leases are up at the same time. So that's why you don't see that this is for all the district devices. I was trying to get them all on the same, but central office and the middle school, their leases are not up yet.
Okay.
So as you can see, if we go to a new 5-year lease, we would save, for Auburn High School alone, we would save about $276.60. And for the 3 schools, you would actually multiply that by 3. It would be $162.96 a year
All
by
right.
going to a 5-year lease.
Boy, that will add up.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. You need a motion for that. Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve a 60-month Pitney Bowes lease agreements for Auburn High School, Swanson Road Intermediate School, Packagug School, and Bryn Mawr School postage meters as presented by the business manager, as required by MGL C30B 12B.
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And another program that we are seeking a 42-month lease is Parent Square. And this, Dr. Chamberlain has worked, this is also something to support our L program.
And so I provided you with the quote received from Parent Square for the district, which I am also seeking your approval because it is beyond 36 months or a 3-year lease based on Chapter 30B.
And this is something that we would use that L reimbursement money for. It is a communication tool for the whole district, so it isn't specific to L's, but what it does is it makes translation extremely easy. It also makes communication extremely easy. So if I'm a classroom teacher, this would get set up that I would have my classroom of students, and if I had a Spanish-speaking family in I can text or email them in English. They can accept it in Spanish. They can type back to me in Spanish, and it will come to me in English. And it makes that seamless communication, which we just don't have to that degree right now. We also have a variety of communication tools that are being used across the district by different teachers. This will streamline all that. It can, if newsletters are put in there, it will translate those as well. It gives us a lot of flexibility. So it will, in some ways, replace one call ultimately.
The chair, I believe you mentioned this before.
I did. I did. Yep.
And again, always looking to save the district money, so they will give us a discount with going with 42 months.
Yep. Okay. And if we commit before the end of the year.
Oh, boy. Well, we better get this going then. Any questions or comments?
No.
All right, let's get that approved.
Motion to approve the 42-month Parent Square contract as presented by the business manager as required by MGL 30B and 12B.
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye. And additionally, this evening, I have provided with you the FY 2025 and the FY 2026 CIP budgets. We have been reviewing those and modifying those. We have met and discussed the needs with Joe Fahey and Dr. Chamberlain, and the budget funds to support the purchase of a new K-8 math curriculum. So I have provided you with amended CIP budgets for fiscal year 25 and 26 in your packet, and this does require your vote of approval so that I may send it to the town. And I'm happy to answer any questions as well.
And just so you know, so on in FY 26, where it's crossed out building rehab for the high school at 210,000. We are collaborating, I think I mentioned this previously, with the town with the use of their remaining ARPA funds. And that's all going to be dedicated to HVAC. So, but that's going to be for the schools and the town. And so that's why that $210,000 is now going to be accessible to us to use for this purpose. And we've discussed this at length and multiple times with Town Administrator Kazanovich, and, well, soon to be acting Town Administrator Vecchio. So Dory Vecchio will be acting once he retires. So, and then they encouraged us that furniture, that's something that we carry every year. So we're going to have to do we're going to have to be careful with what we need in order to use that funding. But it is prudent at this time for us to get a new math program, for us to purchase the materials next year for the program that we currently have, because they're really not, it's almost like the end of that edition of the program that we have is close to $100,000 for K-8. That would be for K-8, which is an enormous amount of money to spend when in another year now you're going to spend to buy a new program again, right? So instead, that money that we'd be using this year to buy supplies for next, we can repurpose it this way. So the town's been very supportive of this. I think Mr. Keller has been leading a math team to determine what the next math program will be. They have it down to 2 programs. They're hoping to make a decision soon. But these programs are a tremendous amount of money.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, I see the giant cot in the bathroom there, this to make it handicap accessible. So what's the deal there? You're just student
So
bathroom.
in speaking with Mr. Fahey, he said that they would be able to work that in with other projects, because every year there is building rehab in all of those. And he said that that would be doable.
Oh, so through the chair, we can still have a handicapped accessible student bathroom?
Or, I don't think we have one now, do we?
No, but it adds to, like, we're getting rid of those funds but you're saying
It's
he'll
still
get
in
it
the plans, right?
good.
So
All right.
just because we're moving the funds there, it is still in the plans.
Yep, nope, go ahead, you're right. Yeah.
We're not removing that.
Okay.
But he had stated based on what we had that
We'll
that's
be
still
looking
in the
at that.
works.
Perfect. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. As long as, yeah, we want our students to have,
Absolutely.
so,
Absolutely. Please know we're not going to take that away. But
Okay.
there's something that they're doing with just in the design and whatnot.
oh,
so.
okay, yeah. Leave it to
He
Joe.
knows the interest.
Yeah, Joe knows.
Yeah, well, that's no. I have to lean on his expertise as much as possible
Well, we have him.
while we have him. Yes,
Yeah.
for a couple more days.
Yeah, right.
All right. Yeah, I think, sorry, we put you in the hot seat tonight. But
Not at all.
We did it. Through the chair, I just have a quick question. So this is for we're upgrading the math for 75 for this year, and then we're finding the 325 for next year by repurposing and moving furniture and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that we have the new program, not upgrade and then buy new. Right. Is that right?
So we would have to use a certain amount of money to get the consumables that kids use, right?
Right.
Books, that kind of stuff. So we're not going to do that.
Right.
And we're going to use this money to get a whole new program, which will be everything new
For next year.
for next year.
Got it.
Yep.
I was like,
And-
wait a minute.
Yeah, what'll
That
happen
math
is-
didn't math for a second.
Yeah.
Math
So
always.
the FY 26 money, that won't be available to us till July 1.
Right.
And we hope to do some training this year, right, in March with staff. But normally what these places will do is they'll give you the first unit of for every grade level so that the training can happen to go through that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you pay the bulk of it when the funds become available in July, because most
Right.
districts work that way.
That's what I needed.
Yeah.
Yes.
And are these window replacements in this building actually going to happen?
Well,
Well,
feel like we've been
there's been a
carrying this.
portion of them done. We all have
Oh,
one
okay.
new, there's
Yeah.
one new functioning window in all of the places, and that is still, yes. Yes, we do. Each office got one functioning window, which is absolutely wonderful, and they are still
it
working
fair.
on it. But, yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
And you get one. Oh, my word. Okay. Well, because we've been carrying that around for many, many years now. I just feel like I'd like it.
Before I
for-
came here.
I mean, you just
that was
really need
there.
one. Let's be honest.
Put your desk next to that one.
Yeah. All right. So let's see. Did you need a motion for that?
I do need that to
An
be
action,
approved.
yeah. Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the amended capital improvement budgets for FY 2025 and FY 2026 as presented by the business manager.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Hold on. So, Alan, you get a cool breeze now?
I
Oh,
do, yes.
wow. That is
Notice I wasn't mocking that at all.
And I don't have to climb up on the counter anymore.
Yeah, wow.
So.
Exciting.
Yeah.
And then I just have one more. I know,
Sorry.
I was, I know, I'm sorry. I have provided you with a listing of school department grants received for the 2024-2025 school year at this time. The town requires an annual acceptance by the school committee for all grants received each year. So
Through the chair, just what's the safety and healthy learning? There's no what it's utilized for. Or wait,
No, that's
no,
McKinney
McKinney
Vento.
Vento. Never mind, I know that one. Okay,
okay.
good.
All right. Any other questions? No. All right. Seek a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve the listings of school department grants as presented for the 2024-2025 school year by the business manager.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye is a vote. And no executive session tonight. So can I get a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, it is a vote. Thank you, everyone. Happy holidays.
Thank you. Happy holidays.